So I'm going to go through a breakdown of the 12 lessons that are contained in Physique Fundamentals, which is the lifestyle, nutrition, and habit building portion of the DreamBody school curriculum. Lesson number 1 is perspective. I give you an overview of this journey, and I set up the framework that's going to be at the core of everything you and I do together, which is this motto: slow and steady wins the race. Lesson 2 is workout preparation. I go through 2 really important physiological factors that you need to incorporate into your workouts from the very beginning. And those 2 items are the locked position, which is a really important way to set up your body for every kind of lifting that you'll be doing with me now and in the future. The other item is the importance of slowing down how you move while you're working out so that you create more time under tension, which is what is going to build better muscles. Then in the same lesson, we move on to the concept of the mental stresses that you're going to face when you're in the gym and outside the gym. I go through some of the surefire tactics that I've used to help get me through the most difficult times, the most crowded gyms, and these tactics will work for you too. Lesson number 3 is workout scheduling and prioritization. I'd say about half of the over 240 clients and students that I've worked with over the last 9 years have struggled with complying to a gym schedule, especially if they don't have someone that they're showing up regularly and paying to meet them at the gym. So I go through how to incorporate scheduling ahead of time into your daily routine or your weekly routine so that you end up increasing your chances of actually getting to the gym and, importantly, consistently in the future going to the gym at the frequency with which you'd really like. I take in consideration a lot of schedule and lifestyle restrictions and stresses that many of my clients have faced, and I teach you how you can continue to prioritize and make your gym attendance a success and a reality despite any background that you have going on in your life. And then we go right along into lesson 4, hydration. I explain why hydration matters, whether your goal is muscle gain or fat loss or both. I explain to you why this is important and also how to tell if you are dehydrated and what to do about it if you are. Lesson number 5 has to do with fiber, dietary fiber. I explain once again why this is important for you, whether your goal is to gain muscle or lose fat or both. I show you what foods are high in fiber, and I give you a couple of really easy hacks to tell if a food is going to be higher in fiber or lower in fiber. I also work with you to help you incorporate on an organic level the habit of getting a modest amount more dietary fiber into your diet right away, and I give you a framework with which to work in future lessons so that you can increase that fiber intake over time. And then we go into lesson 5, which has to do with food habits in general. This is the largest and most comprehensive lesson in the course because it covers food shopping, food preparation, habits you probably want to instill around actually eating your food, as well as what to do when you get thrown off your course and you're traveling or life is especially chaotic. I'll help you understand whether it's better for you to order most of your food in, like through a meal delivery service, or make most of it yourself, or a combination of the 2. I'll also help you understand the importance of setting aside some extra time to actually eat the higher fiber, higher protein foods that are coming your way, and how you need to build that time into your daily life in order to see the results that you want to see. And then I talk about one of the most important and quite honestly problematic areas for my clients and students in the past, which is travel. You know, it throws you off your game. You aren't in your regular routine. You often have much less control over what you have access to and, the kitchen space. And can I cook? Can I only microwave? Do I only have a refrigerator? Do I have none of the above? And I'll give you some of the habits that have worked for me as well as other successful clients and students in the past for planning ahead, being proactive, accepting imperfection, but staying committed to your goals. So lesson number 6 is protein for muscle gain and fat loss. I help explain why protein is so important, why you hear so much about it, and the role that it actually plays in helping you build strength, gain muscle, and lose fat. I help you understand long-term where you specifically want to have your protein intake at, and I also, on a more micro level, help you understand realistically how much more you should be adding in to your routine at any given point in time. Lesson 7 is supplementation. I talk about the safest and most effective supplements that I and my former students and clients, as well as colleagues, have used and benefited from. This will include protein supplements, fiber supplements, caffeine, weight gainers, and creatine. I help explain the doses of each that I've used, when I've used them, and when I try to stay away from supplements and just focus on getting everything I need from whole foods. The next lesson has everything to do with recovery. We cover the importance of meditation, sleep, and managing setbacks and stress. I give you some tips and pointers that have worked really well for me and some of my clients in the past around meditation. Even if you're someone like me who naturally does not want to sit and meditate, I cover some strategies for incorporating a little bit more sleep into your daily life if that's an area you're struggling with. And I also begin and continue to introduce this idea that you'll hear me talk about over and over in the course, which is, what do we do when things throw us off our game? You're going to have setbacks, you're going to have stress, there's going to be chaos in your life during this process. And I want you to be prepared for them and not just be waiting to figure out what to do once they actually happen. So to that end, I'll give you some strategies and tips and an overall perspective that will help you stay the course no matter what happens. The next lesson has to do with carbohydrates. I explain the importance the carbohydrates play in any muscle gain or fat loss journey. I answer the question of whether there are good carbs and bad carbs or if it's all the same thing. And I give you an overview of how to understand the ballpark you should be aiming for in terms of daily grams of carbohydrates, depending on the size of your body, your activity level, and your goals. The third to last lesson is self-celebration. As you've heard me already speak about, you're going to be facing setbacks and challenges on this journey. And some of them will come from external factors like we talked about earlier with your schedule or your sleep or lack thereof. But a lot of the challenges in this journey are going to come from within. So this lesson really addresses that negative self-talk that you may be running up against that's telling you you haven't gotten the results that you should have gotten by now. This lesson is a great reminder to go ahead and look at the progress photos and measurements you've been taking every 6 weeks up until now. And it really is a reminder and explanation of how to bring perspective and positivity into this relationship you have with your body. You'll not only be looking at the results you've gotten so far aesthetically and with your strength, but you'll also be taking stock of the sweat equity you've put into building much healthier habits that have given you more self-esteem by this point. So it's really a chance to reflect on all the good you've done and celebrate that. Lesson 11 is about dietary fat. Adjusting my fat intake was one of the two biggest things that helped steward in this humongous change I've seen in my body since 2018. And of course, we're going to do the same for you. So we're going to explain, again, an overview of what framework you should be working with in terms of your daily fat intake. I explain the difference between good fats and bad fats and how there's a role for both in your daily diet. And I explain the scientific importance of having dietary fat in the right levels in your diet, whether your goal is, again, muscle gain, fat loss, or ultimately both. And the 12th and final lesson of DreamBody School is perhaps my favorite, self-discipline. We've talked a lot in the course up until this point about self-forgiveness and self-love, which is so important, but equally important is self-discipline. A lot of people just burn out. They quit putting in the work because they expect perfection or they expect that this work will be easy. And when the weeks turn into months and then eventually the months turn into years, if you're really committed and really want to see a major change, this is what separates the people who will get their results from the people who won't. It's that sweat equity. It's that commitment. It's that getting up and going again and going again and going again, even when life throws curveballs, even when things don't go your way, and when things do go your way. This is a reminder and an explanation of the importance of sticking with the course and having persistence and determination, because those are the things that will get you your dream body.